We are your number one choice for country.
102.3, Milledgeville's Country 102.
We've cued the music, and you know what that means. It's time for the Louie Herron Weekend Kickoff with Louie Herron.
At the end of the day, what's most important is to find the car you want that meets the expectations that you need for you and your family.
And Randy Beasley.
Of course, the weekend, you got folks maybe thinking it's going to be some nice weather to get outside and peruse the car lots.
And now here they are, Louie and Randy.
Hey, it's Friday, and we are in studio with Louie Herron. Good morning, sir.
What's going on?
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
I'm doing all right. Football is back.
It is.
Not great football weather, though.
No, it's been raining like crazy, but more importantly, it's been hot.
Wow. Yeah, they had football last night, Gatewood on the road, and tough loss, late loss last night at Piedmont, 14-7. John Millage gets it going tonight when they play on the road against Trinity in Dublin. And then Georgia Military College tomorrow on the road to play Navarro in a big game. And we'll have that for you here on 102.3 FM 130 tomorrow. But, yes, the football is upon us, and I see you've got the colors on this morning.
I've got my Dolphin gear on.
Uh-huh.
I do. Speaking of that, you've been watching Hard Knocks at all?
I have. I've seen every episode.
I just love that show.
Yeah, it is good stuff.
That's a great show, and you get an inside look at the Falcons, see what's going on there. Got one of their linemen banged up. Is he done?
Yeah, he's out for the year. Sam Baker, patella tendon.
That snapped, huh?
Yeah.
That's tough. That is tough. What else with Georgia football? Anything? Who does Georgia open up with?
Oh, just a little game next Saturday, and then they host Clemson.
That's a bit. Is it up in South Carolina?
No, it's in Athens this year.
The edges.
It's in Athens this year. Yes, and
it'd be nice to knock that one out real quick.
It'll be a 5:30 kickoff a week from tomorrow.
No Sammy Watkins, so it's a little easier, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Georgia with a new defensive coach and new quarterback. It's going to be an interesting year.
Well, we'll tell you, I want to talk about something that's interesting today. When you're talking about buying a car, and of course, you can go to theautoschool.com and get a lot of tips that you need. And of course, all these shows that Randy and I do, we record, and they're actually on the Louie's Lake Lot website as well. So take good notes, because we want to talk about the hidden cost in a car purchase. There are several things that I don't think many people think about before they buy a car. They think about their monthly payment, what they can afford, and then they base everything around that. And the next thing you know, there's some costs that come up that we want to get into that you want to stay tuned and listen to, because there's a lot of stuff that you may not think about that creep up on you, and part of it you can handle up front before you even go get a car, which will help you out in the long run while you have the car.
All right, so we've got a lot of stuff to talk about today, and I hope that you'll stay with us here. It's the Louie Herron Weekend Kickoff.
That's it, the Louie Herron
Weekend Kickoff, and very quickly before we get out of this first break, let's talk about when they come to see you at Louie's Lake Lot. Chances are you're there.
Oh yeah. I'm definitely there. That's what's so interesting is coming from a franchise to the Lake Lot. I mean, and a lot of people, if you've been out there, you've got this little trailer. It's really me and two other guys. I mean, and so what makes it so unique and so nice, and we'll get into this on the very last break of what I've done with pricing, which you want to stay tuned to that, because it'll save you a whole bunch of money. Well, there's only 3 guys, Randy. I mean, the overhead is it is night and day, which means that, we can get aggressive on price. We can really accommodate the consumer as it relates to interest rates and all the finance charges and monthly payments. We've got the same lenders. I mean, it's really fun, because we've got some more flexibility that we didn't have with so much expense structure when I had the Toyota dealership.
All right, we'll talk more about that and other things. Louie Herron Weekend Kickoff. It's 8:18 at Country 102. Sunny, hot, heat advisory again today. We'll be up near 100 for a high. 73 degrees now at Country 102.
Cooling service, please consider Wright Heating and Cooling. Call today, 452-1148. Comfort you can trust.
This is Country 102. It's the Louie Herron Weekend Kickoff with Louie Herron in studio with us today, and 73 degrees right now. All right, let's get right into it.
Right to it. So we're talking about these hidden costs. Okay, so I always kick it to you first, just to kind of see, and you'll touch on a couple. But what would one of the hidden costs you think would be out there that most people don't consider?
Okay, now when we're talking about hidden costs, you're talking about things that are actual and that you
things that you go through that you don't see up front, that you don't think about up front. Things that you're going to have to pay for in one way or another on the car that's more than the payment.
The first thing that I think of when you think about hidden costs is things that we've talked about before, like underbody treatment or whatever you call it. And that's not what you're talking about.
Add-ons. Well, that could be one. That wasn't one that I had, but add-ons would be one of those.
Okay.
But let's talk about something that's universal to new and used cars. Let's talk about the first one. The first hidden cost that nobody thinks about is depreciation. Okay, so how is that a hidden cost? Louis, every car depreciates. So, if every car depreciates, why would that be a hidden cost? Here's the biggest thing that I want you to think about. You've got a deal that you're working right now, and it's two different cars, and you're in two different dealerships, and you're really trying to work this deal. But dealership A has a car that is $1,000 cheaper than dealership B. But dealership B, the car that you could buy there, has a tremendous resale value and far more than dealership A. So the depreciation cost that you need to be careful of is you think you're getting $1,000 better deal. You've worked them, you've negotiated, you've waited 3 days, they've called you back. You're in that old car stuff. You know what I'm talking about. And you finally make a decision you're going to buy the car that's $1,000 cheaper. Well, what you don't realize is if in fact you trade that car, which 78% of all consumers trade in a vehicle before the term is up. It's a high number. 8 out of 10 almost will trade a car before you ever get a title. Then you've got to consider what I'm saying. If you look and that car depreciates $4,000 more than dealership's B's car, then all of a sudden you've really lost $3,000 of a hidden cost you never thought about. You're just paying for it later. Does that make sense?
And a lot of people will never think that way because
of course not.
They're saying, oh man, I'm saving $1,000 today and down the road is when it gets you.
That's right.
You're not thinking that.
Okay, so now I've given you one, depreciation. Sounds good, Louis. So what do you do to fix that? How do you remedy that? How would you go about finding out if that's something you're concerned with, Randy? How would you figure out which car depreciates more to save that cost? Would you have an idea? And it's okay if you don't, because most don't.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking about resources. I'm thinking about Kelley Blue Book. I'm thinking about different things I can check on the internet about what different models or different makes hold their value better.
So here's a nugget. Here's something that most people will never do, but if it's a home run ball. If you want to know exactly how a car depreciates, you need to remember ALG.com.
Okay.
AutomotiveLeasingGuide.com. They will publish and show you what the car's value is going to be in 3 years. Okay, so here we go. Now, I told you as a good rule of thumb, let's say, Louis, I'm not good on the web, I don't really go on the internet. Okay, fine. A rule of thumb is in 3 years, the car is going to be worth half its value. That's a quick reference point. You got two $20,000 cars, they're going to be worth 10 in 3 years. However, some will depreciate at a much rapid rate. If you go to ALG.com, it will post you a 3, 4 year, 5 year residual. What that means basically is you look up a car, let's say you go to a Honda Accord, and you see that the residual on the Honda Accord is 58%. What they're saying is that they believe that car is going to be worth 58% of its value. Now, I just told you it's going to be worth half in 3 years. A Honda, a Nissan, a Toyota, a reliable car will be worth more than 50%. You may have another car that's the same exact car that you'd like, or it's $1,000 cheaper rather, different model, and it's got a 46% residual. Well, now you know that it's an 11% difference or 10% difference in car. Do the math on the MSRP or the sticker price of the car, and there's going to be your savings. So again, like you said, research is a huge piece. Now, you hit the nail on the head. People today, and even if I include myself, really what's more important is the now. And it sounds good, Louis, that if my payment is $293 on the one that's $1,000 cheaper and it's $309 on the one that's $1,000 more expensive, you know, that's a $10 or $12 or $15 difference today that I could save. Well, guess what? You could save $2,500 3 years from now. And as a rule of thumb, for every $1,000, it's roughly $20 in payment per $1,000. $2,000 or $3,000 savings could be $40 to $60 on your next car payment. And we know these payments every year, they don't get cheaper, right?
Sure.
I mean, everybody comes into the dealership or the used car lot and the universal, I want to be at $250, $300 a month. They've been saying that since I've been in the business in the early 90s. It's never changed, Randy. $250, $300 a month. The fact of the matter is there are very few $250 payments, $300 a month payments without substantial down payment or superior credit. So depreciation is one of the number one thing I would look at that I wouldn't take lightly. And yes, you've got KBB, you've got Edmunds.com, but most importantly, ALG.com will give you a pinpoint specific value of what they predict that car to be, which is what auctions use, it's what the banks use, it's what the leasing companies use. And if those three sources use that, you can bet that it's a pretty solid figure.
It's the Louie Herron Weekend Kickoff, talking about hidden costs, and we'll talk some more about that in just a couple of minutes. Right now, Rascal Flatts on Country 102. It's 8:29 and currently 74 degrees. WKZR, and it's Louie Herron Weekend Kickoff time. Louie in studio with us today, and we're talking about a lot of stuff, including some hidden costs.
What do you take? Yeah, what do you take of the first one? Just recapping that the depreciation. How do you feel about that?
It's like I said, it's something a lot of people never think about, and I think a big part of that is, what do you really think is going to happen? Are you going to trade in 2 years? You're going to keep this car forever? Sure. I think that's a big part of that decision. Another, and of course, I'm not trying to skip around on you here, but another thing that, as far as hidden costs go, is we've talked so many times about cash is king, and if you put down a little, then you pay a lot more on interest over the time of the loan. So,
and that's definitely another one. But again, we're gonna cover one again. One of the things is when we cover these hidden costs, I not only want to share with you what they are, Randy, and everyone that's listening, but I also want to tell you, it's great that you understand one thing, but how do you fix it? How do you cure it? How do you like win from it and not waste the money on the hidden costs, right? So the next one I'm going to talk about is gas. The hidden cost of gas. Now, I know when people are looking at their monthly payment, they're looking at all the factors that go in, like you mentioned, interest rate, but fuel. We all know that the gas fluctuates up and down. It's constantly one of those things that you're always on top of mind. But one of the things that I don't think people realize is again, to eliminate or really get that gas handled. Once again, you can go to fueleconomy.gov. fueleconomy.gov. Now, you've got dealership A and dealership B, and you've got car A and car B, and there's $1,000 difference in the two. They're two different brands and models, but you like them a lot, and you're weighing this. Well, if the car at dealership A is $1,000 more expensive than dealership B, but it happens to the fuel, you look up at fueleconomy.gov and you realize that you're going to save another $98 a month in gas if you take car B. Really and truly, you think you're paying $293 on one car and $309 on the other, but when you factor the gas, you're actually not paying $293. You add the $90 difference in gas, and now all of a sudden, you're paying $375, and the other one you're paying $350. So now you got to add both of those together and see where you think, hey, I got $1,000 better deal. I'm buying that car. Well, you also got $90 a month more in gas. And if you're aware of that, that's fine. Move forward if you think that's the better deal. But the better deal a lot of times is not so much what price you get on the car. The better deal is what works for you, what works for your budget, what works for your family. That's the better deal. A lot of people think that when you get a better deal, that means that I got the best possible price and the dealership made nothing. Well, that's not a better deal. That's not a win-win for everybody. And it's not a win for the dealer to make all the money and you pay too much and you're squeezed for the next 5 years. That's no good deal either. So again, the focus, in my opinion, is yourself, your family, your needs. Where can you save the most money? If you're getting $1,000 better discount from dealership A than dealership B, don't rub dealership B wrong just because they weren't able to move with you as much on the price. If you're looking at two different cars, especially if the gas on dealership A's car is going to cost you $90 more a month, you're better off going with paying $1,000 more, Randy.
That's right. How about this? Another hidden cost that came to my mind is if you buy a certain vehicle and you plan on keeping it service and repair may be a lot more for some vehicles than others.
That's
Is that
it.
correct?
That's number 4. That's
I jumped ahead.
That's all right. That's the maintenance. Well, listen, stay with us because I got another one that's coming after the break, Randy, that, again, you're going to hear it kind of cliche, but when I dig into the details, you're going to be shocked and amazed. Once again, you think the $1,000 cheaper price car is a better deal, you better just hang tight because it may not be.
Louie Herron Weekend Kickoff. Louie in studio. By request, here's Brad Paisley.
Here we go.
Country 102, Louie Herron Weekend Kickoff, 8:42 now, 18 before 9 o'clock. And we've got Louie with us here. We've been talking about some hidden costs when you're looking to buy a vehicle. We've talked about several, and we got more.
Yeah, I think hopefully if you've stayed with us here and you're listening to some of this stuff, the main thing, Randy, I want everyone to understand is if you're looking at 2 different cars, you like both of them, and upfront price seems to be different by $1,200, $1,500, or $1,000, and I mean substantial. If something's $200 or $300 difference, obviously it's not as critical as a car being $1,500 in savings. You just want to look twice. Are you really saving $1,500? You know what I'm saying, Randy? Mm-hmm. I mean, I just don't know that people look at it, and if you just take fuel as an example and really look at the math on the 2 cars you're considering, and you can do that by going to fueleconomy.gov. You can compare 2 vehicles side by side, okay? And so you can do this and do the math. How many gallons? What does it cost per gallon? You can see the money and have a good understanding of what that could save you. And of course, depreciation was the first thing that we talked about. Now, here's the third one is insurance. Now, I'm not going to profess, Randy, that I'm an insurance guy because I'm not. That's not my forte. But I do know enough about insurance to know where it could cost you money and where it could be more expensive. So, I jotted a couple things down. The first thing is a pre-owned vehicle typically is going to be cheaper in insurance. So if you're considering a late model used vehicle and a brand new car, typically the used car is going to be cheaper. Once again, if you line up the monies, you line up the gas, you line up everything, you want to look at that savings. If it's $30 a month, that's another $300 a year, whatever the math is. You want to add all of this together. You can call beforehand. The other thing you can do if you say you love a car, Randy, and you call the insurance and you're like, man, the insurance is too high. Okay, so once again, what's something that's applicable that we can apply to this situation that we say, wait a minute, I still love this car and I want it. What can I do to get my insurance down? Do you know of a couple of ways that you can actually still buy the car you want? The insurance was too much. There's some ways you can drive the insurance cost down. That's a hidden cost. Are you aware of a couple?
Color?
I actually I don't know the answer to that. I think we all know that something's red. That it's. I don't know if that's actually. And we'd have to give it an insurance guy. I'm not sure if the color.
I don't
know if it's a myth or not, but I heard the same thing. But here's one way you can do. And again, some of this may be elementary to you, but ask for a higher deductible. Okay, the first thing you can do is you love the car you want, but the insurance is just $50 more a month than you can afford. Ask them to raise the deductible. Raising the deductible obviously is a bigger out of cost for you. If something were to happen, it reduces some liability on theirs. And again, it could be, instead of a $250 deductible, you may want to raise it to a $1,000 deductible. Now, with that said, something happens. It's $1,000 you got to come out of pocket. But if you really love the car and you want to drive that monthly payment down, that's a huge way. The other thing with insurance is, I think one of the worst things you can do is you can't have your insurance with Progressive, but then your homeowners or your rental insurance is with Geico. I mean, if you consolidate all your insurance to one, and a lot of people will do that with a car, is they'll try to find the cheapest rate. They may have State Farm for years, but they get this little old insurance company to try to help them on insurance because they think it's going to be cheaper. You actually can go and say, look, I'm putting all my insurance with you. I want to drive that rate down. The other thing is, if you're a family, if you hadn't asked already, ask for multiple vehicle discount. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, again, it's very important. And one thing that you may not realize, and I found this out by one of my guys that I know in the insurance business that I never would have thought. If you know you have good credit, your insurance should be cheaper. Believe it or not, did you know that?
I did not.
I didn't either. But that is a key too. If you have good credit, the last thing is, even if you're buying a pre-owned car, if you want to drive the insurance down, offer up, what if I get some kind of security system or alarm system? Because again, theft, the propensity of theft. I mean, you look at these cars. For example, if you're buying a Toyota Camry, there's tons of the Camrys in the marketplace. Tons. That car could be more it could cost you more in insurance because it's more susceptible to theft because there's more of them out there. So again, as we're looking at these hidden costs, you got gas, you got depreciation, you've got insurance. Not only do you know those are 3 things you need to look out for, now you've got 3 ways that you can actually go and figure out how you can reduce those hidden costs and not let them sneak up on you.
Louie Herron weekend kickoff on Country 102, and we'll talk more with Louie in just a moment or two. Right now, Sugarland on Country 102. Here on Country 102. Louie Herron weekend kickoff with Louie in studio. We're talking about hidden costs when you're looking at a vehicle.
And maybe Bobby Brown can correct me if I was wrong on any of this, but I'm pretty confident that the insurance coverage was fairly tight.
Yeah, I think you were right on point.
Well, listen, we're talking about these hidden costs in a car purchase. Look, at some point, if you're listening, you're going to buy another car. You're going to trade the one you got, or you're going to get a new one, or you're going to have a deer run out in front of you and need to replace one. These are things that you just want to just be tuned into as it relates to hidden costs. There are many, and Randy, I could have covered probably 10, but I chose 4 of the ones that I thought were good and solid. The first one was depreciation. The second one was fuel economy with gas. Third one was insurance, and the last one is maintenance. That seems like an obvious one, but you want to make sure that you're getting a vehicle that you know is going to be well maintained, that's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. Because once again, if you're focused on that $300 payment that you finally got negotiated, but the car is going to be costing you $1,200 a month, you really got a $400 payment, Randy. Yep. I mean, you got another $100 a month. Now, it's not going to come $100 a month. It may come $300 at one time, $400 at another $150, and etc. But the bottom line is, another $1,000 or $1,200 a year in maintenance to the vehicle is going to cost you another $100 a month. And here you walked away from a newer model car somewhere else, and you thought you had a $100 cheaper payment, and you feel good about paying $300 instead of paying $370. But the car that's $370 may require $200 in maintenance a year. So really, you may have paid more. You throw the fuel economy on top of that. Now you're paying more than you thought you did, and then oh my goodness, you go to trade the car 3 years later, and now all of a sudden you take a $2,000 hit. I mean, these are very, very important things, and that's why we cover them.
And I want to remind everyone that if you missed any of this today, you can go to theautoschool.com
or louieslakelot.com. We got them posted there.
Okay, and go to either site and get that. We're going to come back for one final break, but when we do, we're going to talk about what's going on at the Lake Launch, some deals going on now.
Yeah, I got something nice for them.
All right, great. This is Country 102 WKZR. Stay with us. More with Louie in just a moment. 8:53 now at Country 102. Here's Sam Hunt.
They roll the sidewalks.
Leave the night on. Sam Hunt on Country 102. 77 degrees, 8:56. Louie Herron weekend kickoff final break today. And we're going to talk about, we've been talking all morning about some hidden costs when you're buying a vehicle, but let's talk about what's going on right now at Louie's Lake Lot, again located up toward Lake Oconee near the pyramid, and most anytime you'll see Louie there.
980 Lake Oconee Parkway. Definitely take the time. You could go to louieslakelot.com. Here's what I want to tell you that I thought was really cool. It's the end of the month. For us, we're winding this thing down, and so we've got every single car marked on the website. We've priced everything down. I went through every car. Me and my 2 guys sat down car by car by car. I encourage everyone to shop the price. We have a tool that's that we use in the auto industry that allows us to see if we have any car just like somebody else within 100, 200, 300, up to a 500-mile radius of our car versus their car, what it's priced for. I can assure you, shop us, our price point. And again, I'm confident because of the low overhead and how aggressive we can get, our price is right where it needs to be. It's priced for everybody. And I'll tell you, too, I'm there. I mean, I'm literally, there's 2 locations. There's the Lake Lot, and they're right across the street next to Spilling the Beans. We've got a little office area, and I'm back and forth. I've got my office manager, and I've got one of my used car guys there. And so we're there every single day, doing our best to sell used cars, right there in Putnam County. And again, being in Baldwin County for so long, I encourage anyone that's done business with me in the past, come check us out. If you think the 25-minute drive is too far, get on the site. You can call us at 706-991-1900. Call me directly. If there's something off, you want to buy a car, you can call me directly because I'm there working the deals. The last thing I want to say is we've got another tool that I'm proud about because there's only 3 of us, and every single customer is so precious. It's not like I'm at the franchise anymore where I've got 20 customers coming in a day. When we get 3 customers, I mean, that's all you get. So we're looking, every time we have someone that comes in and you're looking for a car that we don't have, we've got a tool called Dealer Match. This tool we pay for, it's linked in with thousands of auto dealers that put all of their inventory online. So if you're looking for a car, in addition to all the auction information we have, I can find anything. I'll go get the car without a deposit. If it's something you're looking for, I'll get the car, and there's no commitment to you. All we request is that we get your email. When we locate the car, we send it to you. If we find 3 of them, we'll send them to you. You tell me, I like that meets my expectations. You'll know the price, you'll know the payment, you'll know the interest rate, you'll know the color, you'll know the miles, you'll know everything about it. It'll be subject to a ride and drive. When the car gets here, if for some reason it doesn't meet your expectations, no commitment. The last thing I want to tell you is going on now, today and tomorrow, buy a car from us. We'll give you a $250 gift card to Walmart, in addition to the price that we've already dropped significantly. So the price points are low. $250 to Walmart. You spend all this money on kids' school supplies, get some of that money back. $250 gift card when you buy a car with us. You can apply that to a deeper discount if you'd like, or you can take a gift card. We just want to show our appreciation. Come see us or visit us online at louieslakelot.com.
All right, louieslakelot.com. Thank you, sir. Have a great weekend.
Okay.
And this time next week, we'll be talking about college football.
That's it.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Great
Have a
time.
good
Thank
one.
you.
That's Louie Herron. Louie Herron, the Lake Lot. Again, it's up toward Lake Oconee near the Pyramid, and check it out this weekend. 77 degrees, 8:59 at Country 102. Have yourself a good one.
I've got $100 smoking.